Yo, what's up, ladies and G's? Much love to those returning, and shout out for those tuning in for the first time. This is the Level Up Daily Podcast, and I'm your host, DeAndre Evans. And I have a very, very exciting episode for today, especially considering the fact that I have a special guest on today's podcast. I'm very excited to have her on the show. Everything she touches turns to gold. She's, a real estate investor, serial entrepreneur. She holds ownership within several companies. She writes and speaks about entrepreneurship and business. She does it all. You may have seen her work in Forbes, Inc. magazine, Fast Company, and other business publications. And I have none other than the beautiful and former Miss Nevada herself, Lisa Song Sutton, on the show today. How you doing, Lisa?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how's the day going? Where are you at? You driving right now? You in Vegas? Where are you?
I am in Las Vegas. I'm actually just leaving our bakery, Sin City Cupcakes.
Nice.
We had a great meeting about a new shipping product that we're putting out, our boozy cake jars, and we're excited for that launch. So I'm just wrapped that, and I'm leaving there now.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. And I know Vegas is the spot. That's the, land, well, I should say city of sins and land of the fun. Right?
Exactly. We're like adult Disneyland.
Exactly. And I'm so glad to have you on the show. And just to start things off, to be honest, I love your name. It's a beautiful name. It's elegant,
Oh, thank you.
And at the same time, it just makes a statement when you say it, right? And I was finding myself around the house, just saying it out loud. I'm like, Lisa Song Sutton. Lisa. They got a nice ring to it.
Thank you. I can thank my parents for that one.
Right. Absolutely. And I know you said you're just leaving the bakery there, especially getting out of one of your businesses, which is Sin City Cupcakes. And I'm pretty sure we're going to dive into that, especially in this segment here. But I usually like to just open up the floor a little bit for, my special guest who comes on. And if they will, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your backstory and how you got started and what you're doing.
Sure. So, obviously I'm based here in Las Vegas. I grew up in Arizona and went to college there, went to grad school in Miami, Florida, and then moved to Las Vegas in 2010. I started working at a law firm and didn't have aspirations of becoming an entrepreneur or a business owner. It all just happened really accidentally. In the end of 2011, I was chatting on the phone with a girlfriend of mine, Danielle, who ended up becoming my co-founder with Sin City Cupcakes. We were just catching up on the phone. Hey, girl, what have you been up to? And she told me she'd been making these alcohol cupcakes in Florida. Mm-hmm. And I was like, stop it. That's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
If I can find a way to bankroll it, will you move to Las Vegas? Because this is where you need to be making them. This is where people come to overspend, overindulge, buy new things they're not going to buy and do at home. This needs to be the home of boozy cupcakes. And she took a leap of faith and moved across the country. She moved here to Las Vegas. We started the company in 2012, and that was my first foray into business ownership and entrepreneurship.
Nice. That's dope. Especially having a close friend, like Danielle herself, to say, hey, I got an opportunity. Come with me. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's do it. And for you to just be like,
exactly.
You just be like, yeah, here you go. Let's do it. As always,
and a lot of people say, don't team up with a family member or friend, this and that. And I think, in certain instances, there may be truth to that. But as long as you guys have excellent communication and ultimately, share a common goal and objective, which is to make the company better, right?
Absolutely.
It can work, and she and I are living proof of that. It hasn't always been, 100% roses, just like any regular long-term relationship, But that's why the two of you have to be willing to communicate and be dedicated to the main objective, which is, hey, let's make the company better. Let's make it grow so that, we can continue, paying it forward and having a good time while we're doing it.
Absolutely. And that's definitely imperative to know, especially for those upcoming entrepreneurs. You got to fight against those, I guess you can say, statistics and, downplays from family and friends and all of that good stuff. So I'm glad that you took the route, because Sin City Cupcakes definitely sound like something I'm trying to try out and do.
Absolutely. Next time you're in Vegas, you let me know.
I know, right? Definitely. So what really inspired you to get started? Because I know you mentioned, you wasn't really thinking about entrepreneurship too much. And for, your friend to come out and say, hey, let's do this. Was it a certain turning point in your life to be like, okay, I have nothing to lose, or was it more like, I wanted to test myself and just see what I can do? Like, what was that conversation like with yourself?
I think that the initial catalyst was just the excitement over the actual product.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God, that's such a great idea, and Vegas is the place.
Yeah.
This is where it should be. And I actually was working full-time at the law firm at the time. So it's not like I had quit my job and then we just jumped into the company. Part of the arrangement of getting Danielle out here was the fact that I was working full-time. And so I was like, look, I think it's such a great idea, and I don't have the time or the bandwidth or the skill or the knowledge to start this all by myself. Let's team up, and you carry the brunt of the operation.
Yeah.
You're the operations partner, because I am working full time. And granted, me working full time was able to help fund the company in the early days, right?
Right.
So that was also part of what I brought to the partnership. So I think there's ways that you can make it happen. And I think for me, once I realized, oh my gosh, I can have a company as long as I team up with a person or person to run operations, and then we can have a company, that was the kind of epiphany for me to realize, okay, I can be a serial entrepreneur and be involved in different industries as long as I team up with people who are the operations arm.
Absolutely. Definitely. And I totally agree. Again, it's just dope to have the option to go into business with someone that you're close with and know, and for you to, take advantage of the opportunity at hand and still work a job, which is what a lot of people should do. I mean, in the personal, aspect, instead of, just jumping out there willy-nilly, just freestyle. You should have some type of plan.
Yeah.
And for you to, understand that, to be self-aware about it and where you stood was definitely imperative to help you get this thing started. So I definitely congratulate you on that for sure. And when it comes to business overall, I know that you run a lot of different things. You got your hands on a lot right now, right? I know I listed a couple accolades earlier, but I feel like it wasn't all of them. And I just want to know, how many businesses do you own or run currently?
So I've co-founded 5, and I'm invested in an additional 4. And my portfolio is really vast, and that's what I love about entrepreneurship, and frankly, being able to do business in the United States, and for as crazy as our country can be, right, and the leadership and what's going on, I will say this: I am so grateful and thankful to live in a country where myself as a single woman, unmarried woman, right, I can own my own property. I can start any business I want by myself, right? I don't have to get anyone's permission. I don't have to have a brother or a husband or a father listed on the paperwork as well, in order to create a business or own property. And I just think that's really spectacular. Here in the United States, you can literally have an idea, and then you can turn it into a company. You can turn it into a business. Exactly.
And I'm definitely with you on that realm, especially just venturing out and just, getting the ball rolling. I feel like there's a lot of people out there with a lot of great ideas, a lot of talent. They're gifted, but, they hit a roadblock, or they're afraid of what people may say, or they got this idea or picture about entrepreneurship overall, so they stop, right? They don't want to go full force with it. And I feel like we can definitely accomplish a lot more if we supported one another, in the sense of hey, I encourage you, I support you to go take that route. And, if you need any help, I got you, right?
Sure. Well, in action and implementation, right? That's the main differentiator between people who have an idea and then people who are out there doing stuff about it, right? So Absolutely. If you never take action, if you never implement, I'm sure there's quotes all day long about this, but ultimately that idea is just going to stay an idea, and then there's never, it'll never continue forward without you taking some sort of action with it.
Absolutely. And I know, like I said, you got your hands in all of these different businesses, and you're running 24/7, like you just came out of, the Sin City cupcakes. And honestly, that stood out to me the most out of everything you honestly do. I don't know why, but this stood out because it was new to me. And I was like, what? Probably the same reaction you had when Danielle told you, you got this great idea. Okay, you have alcohol-infused cupcakes, right? So I know about, Jello shots with alcohol and then gummy bears, right? All that type of stuff. But cupcakes kind of threw me for a loop. So I'm like, that's interesting. Now, like personally, are they like strong? Like when it diced with the alcohol, like can you taste it or?
Yeah, so we actually create a proprietary filling that's injected into the cake after it's baked. So unlike other places that'll offer you an alcohol-infused product and they're just, pouring the alcohol into the batter, or, like a rum cake, for example, they'll soak the cake after it's baked in rum or something. And that's fine. That tastes delicious. But for us, that's our unique element to our product, is that there is a proprietary filling that's injected in the cake after it's baked, so we can replicate cocktails, we can change out the liquor to match your specific brand. There's so many ways to customize it. And so some of our clients, we've worked with Patron, we've worked with Bacardi USA, we've worked with Tito's, we've worked with various liquor brands who have said, hey, we want our specific liquor used in the cupcakes for, a special event we were catering for them, or a special promo that we teamed up on, and we were able to do exactly that because we have that filling inside.
I love it because I'm all into it, because to be honest, like my birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's coming up November 17th, so I'm like, I might want to go ahead and order a couple dozen of these here, because like I can only
we got you.
yeah, I know, right? Only imagine like having a party and some people who just don't know that there's like in the cupcakes, and they're like, you know what, I'm feeling kind of nice right now. You're like, yeah,
they're like, what's in this?
Exactly.
And you're like, that's tequila, girl.
Yeah, like, that's a taste of Vegas right there. That's a Sin City cupcake.
Exactly.
Like, got you. Definitely. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more, because I know I'm going to go off on a whole tangent talking about cupcakes and ordering. But overall, though, because so again, to reiterate, you have all these businesses going. You have a lot of success at your hands here. And for me personally, I know being an entrepreneur as well, it gets kind of tough at times when you're running businesses, personal life, and trying to balance it all. Like, how do you balance your work life? Do you believe it's a balance, or is it not?
I think it's a unique balance is going to be struck when it's whatever works for you. So for me, I'm always on and available to my teams, and that's something that's important to me. So I'm not watching the clock. I'm not like, oh, it's after 6 p.m. Like, don't email me, or I'm not responding to an email after 6. Like, that's just not how I operate. I'm pretty much always available. Yet, I do have a very active and social community schedule, social schedule. And that's also something that's important to me, spending time with family, spending time with friends, spending time in a relationship, like that stuff that's important to me. And so anything that's important to you, you make time for.
Definitely. And I 100% agree. I know, I asked that question to different entrepreneurs just to get perspectives on it. And it always comes back on the same line. You make time for what's important, which is true. And that's what really matters. And to totally identify, what's at stake and what's at hand and what you're really grinding for. That's the whole premise of it. So I definitely commend you for that, for sure. And to be honest, just to piggyback off of that, because I'm thinking now, like it just popped in my head, considering the fact that you have your hands in so much, like I'm just honestly like sticking to this because I'm like amazed by it, because it's like it's not common, right? It's just not common.
Well, I don't do it alone. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't do it alone. Absolutely.
Exactly.
There's no way, right?
Exactly. And that's something I'm gonna get into as well. So it just amazes me because, like, back in the day, they like, stick to one thing, do this, go down this path, go to school, whatever. But nowadays it's like, yo, I'm an entrepreneur. I got multiple businesses. I got investments. I got my hands in this and that. Like, do you believe, honestly, you should stick to one thing and master it? Or should you be like a Jack and Jill of all trades in today's modern age?
So I think here's the main differentiator is that it depends on what your goal is, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, my goal is to have multiple streams of income in order to sustain and fulfill a lifestyle that I want, right? I want multiple streams of income, and the only way for me to obtain that is to have that money coming in from all different places. That's going to be across businesses, across investments. I think it's, for me, it's dangerous just to have one job. If you just have one job, like, what happens if you get fired from that job? Then you don't have a job anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have any income anymore. Like, that to me is scary. So I'm all about having multiple sources of income, and it works across the companies too, because, you know, sometimes business can be seasonal. So if you have 2 slow months, that's okay. I'm totally okay because I've got money coming in from other places, as opposed to now I'm stressing and you know, it just creates a toxic environment for everybody.
Definitely. So basically, it's good to taste, right? To taste everything, right? To just go out there and, you know, find out what you like, what you don't like, so that you have an opportunity. So, for example, like sports or business, like, you know, people who play sports for basketball, just to say, you know, they just don't look at them just because they can score. They can play defense. They can, you know, rebound and get assists. And in business, you want to find people who are, you know, charming, charismatic, you know, have a great personality, can sell, you know, all these skills and attributes that really, like, helps you stand out as an individual. So when opportunities come along, you're not only prepared, but you can take advantage and show off the value that you bring to the table.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it's not that you have to be versed in everything. It's about pinpointing the 3, 4, maybe 5 things that you're really, really, really good at. And so for me, once I was able to pinpoint those down, even though I have multiple businesses and like my hands are in multiple ventures, I'm doing a lot of the same thing in each company personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's not that I've got to be versed in every aspect of every industry. I think you've got to know enough, because if it's your company, you have to know the basics of what's involved in operation, right? Because if someone gets sick or someone can't make it, whatever it is, like, you got to know that the company's not going to go under just because one person's not available.
Exactly. You gotta know how to adapt. And I think, like, for leaders and entrepreneurs and business owners and period, or CEOs, you know, you should know the job before, you know, bringing someone else onto the board and onto the ship to pass it off, to delegate, right? So just in case, like you said, if anything goes left, you know how to bounce back, you know what to do, you know how it should be ran. And, you know, just keeping that in mind, like, being a boss, right, being an entrepreneur, like, what would you consider your number one attribute to your success?
I think just having the right teams and partners in place. You've got to have that on the operational side, but you also have to work well together, so that's a form of support, right? You need the support from your partners, your ops team, your family, your friends. I think that's really important, because without that, it's tough, right? And that's when people can get discouraged, when they don't have the right support and the right people around them to advance what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. Definitely. And when it comes to, you know, running these operations and these businesses, and I know you stated that you have a team behind you, obviously, in these different companies here, which plays a major role in the success overall as a unit, as a family, right? And when it comes to that overall, from you and your perspective, being so-called a leader, you know, taking action and bringing in, you know, the value to the team, like, how would you measure, you know, leadership? Like, how would you determine and know that, hey, my team is taken care of, we're doing what we need to do? Like, what's your idea and perspective on that?
Definitely, you know, as long as everyone's accountable, right? Everyone has to adhere to their roles and responsibilities, and everyone has to be held accountable to what it is that they commit to. That's how you know that, you know, everyone's on the same page and you're all supporting each other. But also just having an atmosphere of positivity. Like, everything that I'm involved in, like, we strive really, really hard to be a positive workplace, right? Like, even in our hiring, obviously, like, that's something we look for. We pay attention to what people's outlooks are. You know, like, there's someone around that's, like, always complaining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're always complaining, or, like, you know, or, like, something just always happens to them. Like, yesterday they got a flat tire, and today they're sick, and tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something just always happening, and they're dwelling on it. Look, like, all of us have gotten a flat tire in our lives, right?
Right,
but
exactly.
It's like, the question is, like, did it ruin your whole day?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, did it ruin your whole day, or were you just like, oh, man, and then you called AAA and got it fixed, and you were back on the road? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, that's a real thing. And sometimes we will encounter people, especially in the hiring process, who you can just tell, like, they're unhappy. And so they're constantly complaining, or, if they do have something that happens during the day that is out of the norm or upsetting, or, something bad happens, you can tell, it ruins their entire day. And as a result, it's going to affect the whole team. So we're definitely on the lookout for that. And we want to foster a sense of positivity and really making sure that that's important to the team.
Absolutely. Definitely. And I feel like it's imperative moving forward with any team, whether it's a personal team within family, right, and friends, workforce or whatever, but being able to communicate and, at the same time being a leader, being self-aware of what's going on around you and able to identify when, a coworker is not, feeling well. And when you actually ask them the question, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You actually sit there and listen versus just passing them in the hallway and be like, oh, okay, yeah, good job, Jim. And just keep it moving. Yeah. So that's definitely true. And, we can go on and on and on and on about leadership and business and everything, which I think about. And I know I hear your dog. Is that your dog in the back?
Yeah, one of them.
Nice.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. What kind of dog you got?
I have Welsh corgis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're the best dogs. Oh. They're the cutest. They actually have an Instagram.
Really?
Kimchi and Cupcake Corgis.
Hey,
find them.
shout out to them.
Yes.
We got it. I'm gonna put them up. We're gonna put it in the bio and everything in the podcast. You can check it out.
Perfect.
Get a little fame, but no, that's definitely true when it came to the whole message overall, based on leadership and your perspective on that. And at certain times in our life, we take a step back, right? We got to understand, what we really want, what we're passionate about, and, what's the reason why we do it. And, for you, what would you say is the reason why you grind so hard?
Like I said, I have this goal just personally for myself, is that I want income coming from different sources, different streams. I saw that with my parents, and it serves them well. And for me, that's a strong goal I have. But also, I'm a worker by nature. I'm an active person. Yeah. So you know what I mean? I'm not someone who can just chill all the time. I'm all about relaxing once in a while, but if I had to just chill day in and day out, I would get bored, right?
Right.
So because I'm a doer by nature, I'm a builder by nature, all of this just feels really good to me, and it feels fulfilling, and it doesn't feel like work. I'm enjoying the process.
That's important too. So many people get caught up in the hype, in the motion of things, and they're always ripping and running, and they get drained. They burn out, right?
Right. And it's a personality trait. You have to know yourself about what works for you and what you like doing, and that'll change over time, sure. But you've got to be attuned to that, because there are some people who just really like the idea of a 9-to-5 job, and Friday at 5 p.m. they want to mentally check out, and they want to enjoy their weekend, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's a personality trait, But there are other people who are wired a little bit different, and that's why we have these varying industries, right, and different opportunities available to us, because we are not all the same. So you have to do what makes you feel productive, what makes you feel fulfilled, and ultimately what brings you more enjoyment than not, right? It's not 100% of the time always perfect, but if for the majority of the time you're liking this and you're enjoying it, then that's your answer.
And that's true. That's something a lot of people need to, learn how to develop personally, and identifying what they really want, and at the same token, just taking initiative to actually take action. Because I feel like that's the biggest roadblock for a lot of people, other than, people are critiquing them about what they should be doing. It's always an obstacle. There's always something in their way. But there's always lead to excuses. And, excuses lead to not doing it. And you just never get to what you really want to do, and you will never know if you never try. So
exactly.
I 100% agree with you. And for those who, may be tuning in and, listening to the conversation so far, just identifying, what you said, what you stated, what you're about briefly here, what advice would you give to someone looking to pursue something that you do, looking to get into entrepreneurship, whether they're a woman, a man, or it doesn't matter, just to take initiative to jump, take that leap, and to run businesses, multiple businesses, and become a boss or a leader?
First off, read. Like, we're so lucky to live in an age and a time where we have technology literally at our fingertips, right? Like, you don't even need a computer. You can just hop on your phone and you have YouTube, you have Google, you have all these resources that are free where you can read about anyone's experience in any industry. You can listen to podcasts just like this and hear firsthand information and experience from other people who have already done it. So read and listen. And just soak up as much information as you can, and then just take that first step. Like, you know, there's a quote or a meme I saw the other day on Instagram, and it was basically just like, you know, like, just do one thing, like do one push-up, send one email, do one, you know what I mean? It's just like, do one thing, just do one, and then see what happens. And then the next day do two. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly.
All you have to do is start with one, right? So even with serial entrepreneurship, right? You don't need to start 5 companies at once. You need to start one, right? Start one and see how that goes and see what you learn from that and see what other opportunities crop up from that one.
Exactly.
And that's your path, you know? You keep going.
And that's good. And that's real good, too. I'm glad you stated that because, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people saying this or heard this as well, because you don't necessarily have to be great to get started. You just have to get started to be great, right? And to,
absolutely,
you know, able to identify, you know, what you have at hand and what you're capable of is totally imperative to what you really want. And also to add on to that is just knowing that you're not going to master your life in one day. And I feel like, many people, right? So many people, you know, feel like they got to get it done today. It has to be perfect today, you know, but, you know, every single day, like you say, you should just keep doing one thing at a time and just keep adding on to it until it leads to what you really want.
Yeah, everything you're doing should, like, line up and like, be towards whatever overarching goal you have, right? And it's just, it's absolutely so true. I mean, look, it took me almost 7 years to become an overnight success, right? So it does take time. And I think the people who are out there looking for industries that are like, you know, those quick fixes, like sometimes you see them and they're like, oh, you know, 3 months ago I was homeless on my parents' couch and now I'm making $100,000 a month. Like, that's not real.
No, that's just clickbait.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but it's not real. I'll tell you that. Like, all they're trying to do is get you to spend their $79 for whatever funnel course they're trying to get you to buy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's not real. Like,
it's not.
It takes time to build something real. So be committed to putting in the time, and then it flies by. It really does. I don't feel like I've been in business for 7 years. It feels much shorter than that.
Yeah. That's because you in the field you need to be in, right? When you're doing something you love, you really don't identify the time. You really don't pay attention to it. You're just in a zone. And that's what it should be. Everybody, like you said, it's just a facade. Like, it's just a mirage going on. People like, hey, do this, do that. And they're getting lost. And I feel like it's hard, especially, you know, for us millennials, to be honest, just to be like, because we see, you know, you see the Lambos, right? You see the mansions and all that good stuff, which is cool. But it's the wrong way to go about it if you have somewhat, you know, so-called an influencer. That's what today's modern age is. Like, we have influencers now. Instagram, some influencers, you know, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. And they're painting this image where it's falsified just to make it look good so they can, you know, get a sale, like you say. Or, you know, make something happen. But exactly. So when that, you know, is all said and done, you just have to be clear on, just reverting back to what we said earlier, just knowing what you want, identifying and able to apply what you learn, taking the value from those who have it and applying it to your life. And honestly, I know I don't have you long because I can just keep going on and on and on. But you know, just to cut it, it's just important to have conversations like these. Right, to be able to expand your education, your knowledge of the game and what you really want to do, and share these experiences so that we all can get to where we want to be ultimately. So, again, I commend you for everything that you do, and I'm happy that you're on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I know, right? But again, I know I don't have you long, and I know you have a lot to do. You got obviously several businesses to run, so you know, if you can just leave us with two, you ended off with 2 questions, right? What are some new projects you have coming up, if you have any coming up, that we should be looking out for, that we can check into, just to see what's going on in Miss Sutton's world over there in Vegas?
Sure. Well, like I said, we've got a new shippable product coming out with Sin City Cupcakes. We did expand to Texas this past summer. Sin City Cupcakes Texas is up and live and operating, and they're delivering. So if you live in Texas, specifically Dallas, you can get our cupcakes delivered right to you fresh from our facility down there. And then we do have a shippable product, a new shippable product we're putting out, which is our boozy cake jars. So we're really excited about that. We're putting the finishing touches on that right now, and you can just order those online at sincitycupcakes.com. And then the second project I'm really excited about and working on right now is with our shipping company, Ship Las Vegas. We're working on some tech items to just streamline the process. We're working on a shipping ATM and a couple of different ideas to make the customer user experience more convenient, more user-friendly, and just overall, providing a better alternative to kind of the traditional shipping processes.
Nice. So, guys, make sure you go to sincitycupcakes.com, order all the cupcakes, right? Tell them you came from Level Up Daily Podcast, whatever you got to do. Let's get these orders. If you're in Texas, you're in Vegas, listen, just go order up, go get them. I'm definitely going to order for sure. Like I said, I got a birthday coming up, so we're going to ball out with some litty cupcakes and everything going on. So, with that being said, where can people find you? If they want to, find out more about you, make connections, like what's your handle?
It's at Lisa Song Sutton. It's just my full name. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all the social handles, and I manage those personally. So I respond to everything as much as I can, and I'd love to hear from you.
Great. So, guys, I'm going to make sure I put that down in the description below so you can just click the link, go straight to her Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever she has, YouTube, her main page, her websites. All that's going to be in the description. Make sure you tune in. Give her a follow as well. As you can tell, she is an awesome woman to follow. She is very informative about many things. So blow her up. Blow up her notifications, guys. Go for it. But with that being said, I just want to say thank you again for coming onto the podcast, especially us from the Level Up Daily gang here. We just appreciate you for taking time out of your day to do this with us. And hopefully, in the near future, we can have you back on for part 2 to see exactly what's going on with those cupcakes and other businesses that's occurring with you in your life there. So just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. And with that being said, guys, until next time, much love, peace, and blessings. And that's the podcast.
Awesome.
How you feel about it?
It was good.
Yeah.
It's super easy. It flowed well. What about you? What'd you think?
That's perfect. That's all I want. I want it to be easy for you. I want it to be super fun, very informative, and just get the job done. That's what it's all about. And
yes.
What is your favorite song right now that's on repeat?
On repeat? Oh my gosh. I just keep everything on shuffle. So just recently I had some Jay-Z going on, kind of older Jay-Z. And that just gets me amped up. I'm ready to crush a meeting.
Yeah. Or podcast or two, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Got you. Now, if you had to pick one superpower, what would it be?
Well, the ability to fly, I think that'd be really cool, just because it would cut down travel time.
Yeah.
But the main one, if I could have a superpower, it would be not to need to sleep. So I just feel like I would get so much done if I didn't have to sleep. Can you imagine?
I know, right? That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. That's a good one. I'm going to have to add that to mine. And not the ability to sleep. I know you can get so much done and get a lot of accomplished.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Can you imagine? I'm serious about sleep. I try to get a full 8 hours and
Yeah, just be running.
8 hours to your day, forget it.
Right. You'll be good to go. Now, what do you miss most about being a kid?
I think you just have this outlook that everything is spectacular. You know what I mean? Everything's wonderful and everyone likes you, and you just have this because you haven't been tainted yet, right? So
right.
You're naive, and I think somewhere there's a nice simplicity in the naivete, and you just think everything's perfect. You think the world is perfect, and that there's no bad people or dishonest people or anything that could harm or hurt you. Just everything's perfect.
I know, right? The fantasies. I love being a kid. So much fun. Just run outside, right? Just get some ice cream and just do whatever.
Yeah, and that's like the best thing that happened in your day. Like, it's like, you know, you find so much joy out of those things.
Exactly. It's like, just be excited to wake up and just do whatever you want. Right. Now, if you can learn to do anything, what would it be?
And it's probably something I could do. I just haven't made the time for it. I would love to be more proficient in different languages. I think that's such a skill and a strength to be multilingual. And, I'm just astounded when I encounter people who speak, 2 languages, 3 languages, 4 languages. Like, you're just like, wow, like, how well-rounded are you,
Yeah. What would the languages be?
Especially with how global. Probably just more proficient in, like, Spanish. Like, I'm okay with Spanish. Like, I can get by, but Spanish, I think, like Mandarin, just anything that would serve well in business. I think it's such a strength to be multilingual.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got like one sentence in Spanish and it's over for me. Just hola. That's it. But no, that's dope though. And last question here. If you won the lottery, right? What is the first thing you would do?
Well, I guess from the normal stuff of, like, getting an attorney and, doing all the right steps on that end.
Yeah.
I would like to make a charitable donation. I think, giving back to the community that you live and work in especially is very important. And especially with a lottery, right? It's a windfall, right? Like, theoretically, you didn't do anything to earn those funds, right?
Right.
So, I would definitely want to make some charitable donations and just use the money really wisely to make an impact.